heard me bring up the word string a few times already during this set of videos, and you're wondering what it is. So, in its simplest terms, a string is anything enclosed by double quotes or single quotes in Python. So for an example, if we took this print statement over here, the section "my name is Prosy" is a string because it's inside these double quotes. And if you watch that first video, you'll also know that single quotes work too. But basically how Python sort of deals with strings is that instead of going inside and looking at every single character. So instead of going my space name, it just kind of scoops it up and drops it to where it needs to be. So think of a string as a brick wall, okay? There's a lot of pieces of individual pieces of brick cemented together. And with Python, if we need to move that brick wall somewhere else for some reason, we could, instead of going through dismantling every brick individually, like taking out every brick, Python just scoops up the entire wall with a bulldozer and moves it. So you have to be careful with what you put in a string, because even if you make a typo and say you want it to print teal, but you type tell instead, Python is not gonna care at all. It's just going to print out exactly what you tell it to print out inside that string. So inside a string, we can have basically any kinds of characters. You can have periods, question marks, exclamation points. You get the gist. And it'll run, because Python, once again, does not look inside it. Think of it as like a small-scale comment that Python actually incorporates into the code. But that is a string. Now, let's talk about something that's a little more advanced than just a string. String concatenation. Now, I'm sure this seems like a bit of a daunting word, but I assure you, conceptually, it's not bad at all. So, let's go back to our lesson on variables, right? Let's just say we want to tell everyone what kind of house we live in. So if I create a variable called house type, once again, just by declaring the keyword, I can set that equal to a string, which, if any of you guys want to take a guess, again, it's the same thing. Anything inside double or single quotes. So let's say I live inside a spaceship for some reason. But now I want to take this house type and I want to tell the world that I live in a spaceship, because it's pretty cool that I live in a spaceship, right? But the way we would do this without actually going and creating a whole new string called spaceship, because to be honest, that's a waste of space, especially when we have this variable here, is through string concatenation, which is adding strings together. Now we can print I live in a, and then I'm gonna leave a little space here because Python doesn't automatically add a space when you use string concatenation. But the way you do string concatenation is by creating a first full string. Make sure your string is full, guys. The closing parentheses should be black, but your string should be green. But once you have that, you can add a plus sign, just like you would in any other addition problem. And then you can do house type. So now, if we run it, the program says, I live in a spaceship, which is nice. Let me comment these things out really quickly so it's a little cleaner. But yeah, I live in a spaceship. Isn't that really cool? Now, if you're still having a little bit of trouble understanding this concept, let me give you guys an example that might be a little easier to understand. So say you have a string number. So we could do like 1. If we wanted to print 11, we could do 1 plus, and then string number, run it, and bam, we get 11. Now, I'm assuming a good amount of you guys too, thought when I was a kid that 1 plus 1 equals 11. Now, with string concatenation, it actually is. So you have to be careful if you want to add integers or numbers instead of strings. But yes, that is string concatenation. And just to confirm, if you want to, you could also add an extra string with just a space inside it. And all that's going to do is put a space between your initial string and then whatever other string you have. And this doesn't only have to be a variable. You can use pretty much anything else. So say we wanted to do 4647. With string concatenation, we can do that. We get our little space here too. But yes, that is string concatenation in Python. Don't get scared by the long name. I assure you, it's very simple.